Hey, good afternoon, everyone. All right, I'm Tim Boyko here, and we'll get started in just a minute. We'll wait for a couple people to join. Hello, Keith,
Three, two.
Marshall. Can you all hear me okay? Hey, good afternoon, everyone. Rana, you might have to mute your side, because I think it's coming through.
Okay, how's that now?
Yeah, we'll try that.
Okay.
So this is our first time doing this, and so we are excited. And we apologize in advance if there's some technology hiccups here while we're giving this a shot. But we'll get started. I'm Tim Boyko. Serve the honor of leading the strategic growth area for a wonderful company called Hire. And at Hire, we are the experts in validating, activating, and accelerating individuals and teams to achieve the impossible. And with me, I have none other than the great executive coach, Ron Kardashian.
Well,
And
greatness is speculative, but thank you for that esteemed honor.
we have an echo. Okay, that probably means one of us needs to mute something.
Okay, let me check on mine. I'm just gonna turn off my, how's that?
Is that better?
Hopefully that's better for everybody.
I know it's good on my end. I can't speak to theirs. All right. We'll give everyone a little bit about your background, Coach Ron, and then we'll dive into the topic at hand here about psychological safety.
Author of a couple books. My latest book, 30-Second Solution, had the esteemed honor of getting it. There it is. You are the man. Dr. Daniel Amen, who's probably the greatest psychologist in the world, in my eyes, did the forward on it. He said something very powerful that changed my life. When I met with him, I said, Doc, I'm not going to write this book unless you can absolutely tell me that brain behavior can change, even if we have a predisposition in the family lineage of underperforming, or can we become great? And he said, absolutely. He said, in fact, the cerebral frontal cortex, which I've referenced in the book, the frontal part of our brains, is responsible for three mechanisms: impulse control, focus, and forethought. And my early years at the NFL, NBA, training professional athletes, they had this certain mindset that gave them an edge in sports. Well, it's the same for cerebral frontal cortex as it is in corporate America. And I transitioned my whole company 25 years ago, from the weight room to the boardroom, because so many executives were saying, hey, you're coaching pro athletes to operate at a high function. What about us corporate people? And it really was a top-down approach because, only executives could afford it at the time. The premium that having a private coach in your life is. And we've been able to knock that out of the water and make it affordable for everybody, which has been a tremendous blessing. And so anyways, when Dr. Ammon said that, I dived fully into finishing this book. And for the last 25 years, I know that my calling, which I'm teaching people the depth of their existence, is to help other people succeed. And specifically, that's in the space of emotional intelligence, EQ. It is understanding IQ, that you are greater than you think you are. And science is proving this now. So overcoming trauma, ailments, behaviors, idiosyncrasies, fears, everything that I have dealt with, we become vulnerable. And it's at that moment of vulnerability that impact is made and transition occurs. And it is probably the most rewarding thing, authentically helping people make consecutive breakthroughs year after year after year. So that's why I'm excited for the coffee chats, because it is time to go to the next level. And we want to try to help as many people as we can.
And I, as a client with Coach Ron, I can second all of that because I've lost over 80 pounds and I've accelerated things in life like I've never had before. And so you need to hire this man. So now
Right.
getting into the topic of today, psychological safety, though. And so I'm going to start off with how this came to be, actually, I've been reading a lot in a number of HR articles and journals here on LinkedIn that there's a lot of concern about psychological safety and employees feeling safe about expressing their concerns, expressing new ideas, expressing improvements, expressing themselves in ways that they can literally be who they are in the workplace. And so we're looking at Harvard Business Review defines psychological safety as the belief that you won't be punished or humiliated for speaking up with ideas, questions, concerns, or mistakes. This concept is pioneered by Professor Amy Edmondson and breaks this down into 4 stages of psychological safety. And this is also with the work of Tim Clark. And so real quickly, it's inclusion safety, learner safety, contributor safety, and challenger safety. Inclusion safety is feeling accepted and respected as a member of your team. Learner safety is feeling safe to ask questions and experiment without fear. Contributor safety, feeling empowered to share ideas to make a difference. Challenger safety, feeling confident to question the status quo and suggest changes. So we're going to really deep dive into this here. And so, Coach Ron, I'm going to hand it off to you. What is your take on psychological safety, and how do we help leaders look at themselves and see, are they doing the actions needed to build a culture where psychological safety is a standard that people can feel safe?
This is probably the most profound subject any human being could have a boundary around in their life. I want us to just position ourselves as someone who's married. And something very admittedly that I admit to, being vulnerable, I was not good at giving psychological safety in my marriage. Or maybe you have a significant other. And what happened is there was an incoherency to the relationship. Of course, now I want you to parallel this in corporate America because you're working with people behaviorally, but the marriage is the deepest place of intimacy. And I want to parallel this so everybody gets it in 30 seconds. Learner safety is something I want to capitalize for sake of time today. We won't be able to hit all 4, but learner, the dimension of comprehension, the dimension of wisdom. Wisdom is the application of knowledge. So as a learner, we're learning new ways to be better for our spouses, better in the workplace, better managers, and of course, better CEOs, primarily executives who I work with. So to define this in proper context, I was ignorant in my marriage that learner safety is the permission we give ourselves to grow without fear. It is the permission we give ourselves to grow without fear. It's the environment where an individual feels safe to ask questions, experiment, admit what they do not know. Hello, husbands. Men are fixers. And now you have a coach who's a 10x fixer, trying to fix everything. Who did I need to fix? I needed to fix myself. The number one element of psychological safety in the workplace is to understand your strengths, your inner man, your inner woman, to be identified with yourself. Hence, one of my coaching principles is identify to defy. You know this one, Tim, right? You cannot defy an issue unless you've identified with it. Well, all of us know this, but hearing it over and over again is the process of learning. And I think we grow fatigued because I'm not talking to elementary people here on LinkedIn. You're some of the most intelligent people in the world. However, much like coaching pro athletes, they're wealthier than me, they're faster than me. They drive bigger cars than me. But here at the end of the day, they listen to me. And I think coachability is one of the segmental elements that psychological safety protects itself and it creates its own boundary when you're a person who can be molded, when you're a person who could be coached. In fact, we were just talking about this last night, Tim, remember? We have an NBA athlete on my administrative team, and he played for the NFL for many years. Only 5,000 men are selected in the world, right? And now women too, which is amazing. I think it's about the same. And we were in the discussion of how has that organization been so successful over the years? And it's very simple. learner safety. The organization has learned that the athlete is the investment, not the money, not the bottom line, not what you can produce. And it's important for us as people who are dedicated to our career, contributing to the vision of the house, the company, whether you're at Apple or you're at Cisco or Pepsi Cola or Nordstrom's, it doesn't matter. You're contributing to this. And the company's job, in order to initiate safety for all my HR people who are going to listen to this, is to put the investment and the value into the people. And Tim, you said it the best the other day, right?
Yes. Yes. We focus so much on the value of business is money, but the true value of business is people.
True
Investing.
value of business is people. So, all of that knowledge aside, how do I protect myself, coach? I want to give you instructions that you can use for yourself. And I really want you to take a deep breath here because I'm going to do some executive coaching live with you right here. Deep breath in through your nose. I want you to breathe right into the pericardia, which is the sac around the heart. And go ahead and just put your hand on your heart. You want a deep breath in and breathe right into the heart immediately within seconds. Studies show via the Heart Math Institute that this is called heart rate coherence. And it immediately creates an environment for safety where you now are in charge of you, not eggshell you, not little girl you, not little boy you, not deprived you, not I don't get attention you, not they haven't recognized me you, not I'm the boss here, even what we call imposter syndrome for highly successful people, you. You are the center of you. And I want to quantify this that it is not a form of egocentrism. It's not a form of self-centeredness. You today, starting today, have permission to have compassion on you. And it's in that moment when you start realizing that, wow, I'm actually pretty hard on myself. And to shift that neurological behavior, that nerve pattern that says, I don't make enough money. They don't respect me. I have no safety here. This guy, that woman, this. There's a narrative that goes on in your head that ties to the heart, and you have 2.9 kilowatts or whatever the heart metric is, 2.9, that emulate out of your body every 24-hour period and is 360 revolving around you all the time. Now this is Heart Math Science Institute's literature that the heart is actually omitting something very powerful. And when you become a person of coherence is identification, right? I had this definition here. Let me get it to you because I want you to make this really, really easy for yourself. Coherence is the ability to be present. So instead of being present for other, we're all always on these phones, we're always on an email, we're always too busy. Take a tab for next week. Let's get to the but learning to be present in the moment initiates a safety around you where you cannot be duped. You cannot be thrown off your game. This is why coaching pro athletes, we coach them in coherency. Why? Because they always need to be on their A game. They get paid to perform 24/7. They can't be wandering off like this on the field or on the court. Same thing can happen for you. It is the power of coherency. Incoherency breeds frustration. You'll know when you're incoherent. You'll have frustration, irritation, impatience, worry, which are all normal behaviors, by the way. Coach deals with them every day. That's why I have a coherence modularization. I have the power as intelligent people to control my thoughts and to say, okay, okay, little man inside, I want to get to the heart, the brain in the heart. Science proving this, the brain of the heart. Get inside the intellectual capacity of choice and to say, I want you to calm yourself, I want you to regulate, and I want you to be coherent right now in the moment. Ladies and gentlemen, this is probably one of the most powerful coaching tools I have, and I'm not holding back giving it away free of charge. Now, working this thing is where the power comes from, right? Working it day in and day out. Coherence, you'll feel a sense of appreciation. And guess what? I have the ability, you have the ability to be coherent right here, right now, by thinking about something you appreciate. So just take a second and do that. Right now, as I'm talking, think about something you appreciate. It could be this call, it could be this knowledge. It could be the screen that you're looking on, the computer, the chair you're sitting in. I'm appreciative of a jacket, some people that don't have a coat. This is the element of gratitude where it's sincere. It cannot be superficial. None of this is all a matter of the heart. You say, oh, I don't got a damn thing to be thankful for. Well, I'm thankful that you're thankful for that. I mean, I'm not an overly positive person, but I know the science behind this, that as a man thinks in his heart, the mouth speaks. Oftentimes we think that words are just framed in the head, yet the ancient proverb reads, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Powerful. I'll leave that alone for you theologians. Coherency not only has appreciation, but it brings a sense of calm, an area I needed a lot of work in. I would come home and I would be wound up. I had to learn that biochemically, Coach Ron, who's already a type A, cannot have coffee on the way home from the office. Time, time out, coach, right? By the way, decaf. I had to actually train myself how to have decaf because, society makes fun of people who have decaf. Oh, yeah, and it's like, no, I enjoy coffee. I like my coffee. In fact, the decaf became a neurotransmitter for relaxation for me, right? After dinner, we have a nice coffee. It just didn't have to be fully loaded with the chemical that triggered my brain to make me more flippant with my family. In fact, being in pro sports and taking supplements for the body, it 10x that. My wife was like, what is wrong with you? And I destroyed a lot of relationships because I was not in touch with my body. I was completely disconnected. And I want to admit that because everyone thinks, oh, the coach has got it all together. Well, I didn't. And now I'm working on that. And I just got done with 11, what was it, 70 hours, Tim?
So you told me over 70 hours, yeah.
70 hours of coaching, thousands of dollars just for 1 week. And, I don't live things that I don't do myself. And I think the higher level you are, the more you do need to invest and nurture in yourself because we are so busy. And we are so highly anointed people or gifted people are constantly drawn on. And that drawing draws out. So we have to replenish. And that's why living with a person, yourself, who actually can have compassion on yourself rather than beating you up for the things you haven't achieved or haven't done or the failures you've made is so refreshing. It's unbelievable. It also gives patience, optimizes confidence, and increases human performance. One coherence exercise, identifying with the heart, optimizes you and brings you into the next level in a matter of 30 seconds. Is that going to answer that, Tim, solidly?
That does a great job. Any questions on the call, if you guys can, uh, you can put them on the chat if you have any, and we'll try to get to them here at the end. I want to come back to the give yourself permission because, in the context of the academia, we're looking at psychological safety as the team, but it has to
Yes.
start with the individual. And if you're a
Yeah.
leader, what you were just talking about is giving yourself permission. You need to make sure, is my heart and my mind aligned, and is there safety between what's actually being felt in my heart versus what is being thought in my brain? Because if there's not psychological safety or coherence, as you're talking, in the individual,
Mhm.
that's where all the masks come in. That's where all the different
Oh,
personalities of a person can come out because there's
yeah.
not an alignment, there's not safety. You can be a person where the brain doesn't trust the heart, or the heart no longer trusts the brain.
100%. In fact, that's a dangerous place to be because we love genuine people for the most part. I mean, the human race has evolved and let me give you a very powerful concept here. Heart coherency is so powerful. When a leader operates in incoherency, the nervous system creates emotional instability or emotional irregularity immediately. We're talking within seconds here. Okay. And this is going to make sense in a second. This spreads through tone, Energy, energy. Haven't you ever walked by somebody and they kind of walk with their head up and you're like, oh, what's wrong with her? We feel it. Google, when you get a chance, the still face experiment. You're going to see a mother staring at a baby, engaging. The baby can't control her urine or her bowel movements, let alone her behavior. And the precious thing is going, hi, mommy, hi, that pointing, cooing. It's adorable. I have two children. The mother then stops and just stares like this. It's the weirdest, most awkward thing. And the baby still has a little bit of a neural pathway that's still going off of the mommy, look, this, that. And all of a sudden, without any word exchange, this infant is so perceptive that it begins to jerk and scream and shout. And the mother is stone cold, called the still face experiment. And what we've ascertained through this experiment is that energy is the primary factor of psychological safety in that we can omit energy and we can change culture for all you HR experts. We can train this to be people who are very conscientious of their behaviors when they come into a workplace, which, like most of us are, we're pretty civilized people, right? Can't go in throwing stuff around. You come into work, you come in put together, makeup is dead, hair, and we're very put together people. We can stay that way internally. And the tone and the energy is a part of that projection. Now, body language, decision making, and teams, what we're coaching them is to mirror coherency or they will mirror incoherency. Because neural mirroring, which is the body's ability to observe another person's behavior and want to emulate that, that is an energy. Haven't you ever been around people that at the end of the day, you're just physically exhausted to talk of this, complain, and all they're doing is the company's this and that. Why don't you calm, center, and quit releasing so much of the toxicity, and let's go ahead and process it so you become more of a healthy adult. And this could be in their defense, because people are going through a lot. We deal with it all day long. This woman that we're talking about who complains and talks, or this man who can't shut up and talks and talks, what if he was raped as a child? What if he was hypoglycemic that day? What if he's dealing with an elderly parent and there's a cost infused with the care of gerontology or taking care of the elderly? Or, it could be a million things on the list. And what happens is because we are not in touch and don't have this compassion and this empathy for ourselves, we become out of touch and it affects everyone around us. And let me sum up this point. 9/11. Do you feel it? You knew exactly where you were. You knew exactly what you were doing, and everybody knows it. The people on ground zero were in a completely coherent or incoherent state. The planes, God bless those people, hit. And within a matter of seconds, everybody becomes instantly coherent to the needs of one another. Complete strangers were embracing people off the streets, holding them and hugging them. How is that possible? Ladies and gentlemen, that is the power of the nervous system regulating through the adherence of deep coherency. We don't have to wait to calamity to shift. We can do it today.
Wow. I don't know if you can feel that energy on the call, but I can feel it over here.
And to that point is I am speaking with deep intentionality to you now. My phone is over here. I did get a call from my COO. I was trying to get him to go on. I couldn't do it. Had to put it down. Made me incoherent to you. You would have been able to pick that up if I stayed on the phone. That's why I recommend individuals who are looking for the next level of success, learn how to regulate the use of the phone when you're engaging in a client because they can feel it. They can feel it even if you're not looking at them on Zoom. Um, my voice tone is completely engaged in the betterment of you, lock, stock, and barrel. No agenda here. I'd like you to visit brainvalidation.com, get yourself a coherence assessment, but I'm not going to pitch it. Do it on your own. My job today was to deliver something to you that could change the direction of your life and increase the value of your career. And I think we did that pretty good, I hope.
All right, we have one question. This is powerful, by the way, before I get to that. As leaders, when it comes to psychological safety, pausing, putting boundaries into your day so that you can ensure coherence. Because like he was saying, your teams will mirror this. I like to tell leaders when I'm working with them, what's going on inside of here is going to be amplified by your actions and magnified by your teams. So if this is not aligned, your teams are not going to be aligned. They
I
are
don't.
literally going to follow what mess or not mess is happening here. If there's a lack of safety here, there's going to be a lack of safety in the teams. And that's where this has to begin. And it has to begin with working through the hard issues that you have to go through. Bring on a coach, go see a counselor. You got to give yourself permission to be kind to yourself, permission to forgive yourself, permission to love yourself. Stop condemning yourself. You are an intelligent being. Yes, we make mistakes. Yes, we're not perfect, but we have to give ourselves permission to be merciful to ourselves,
Yes.
because that's the only way we'll be merciful to someone else is if we're doing it to ourselves first. Because we can't give what we don't give ourselves permission to receive.
Beautiful, Tim. This is the epitome of this conversation, is that self-care produces external care, in that coherency is not a vibe, it's a leadership mandate. It is not, incoherence is not a flaw. It's a signal you've left yourself behind. And today, to capitalize on what Tim was just saying, give yourself permission to have compassion from on yourself, not because of all your degrees, not because of how much money you make, all the books you've written, all the people we've helped, just because you are a human being and deserving of compassion. That's it. And learn to sit and be still with that just for 2 minutes, just for 30 seconds. Pause. I write about it in chapter 3, Tim, right around there, The Power of the Pause. And the book title was 30-Second Solution. If anybody does get the brain validation, we'll give you the book for free. And it's powerful because it just helps to do a little bit of a deep breath for your brain and a reset for your heart. And it takes you into a stratosphere of thinking clearly with precision, speaking truth without fear, tone, growing without shame, and connecting instead of competing. And it is a powerful game change for anybody's career.
We do have one question in the comments I want to get to in the last couple of minutes. So Marshall heads out here. He loves the part of mind lighting up with the heart. Can you talk a little bit more about how to get in line, get that in line together a little bit more? What are some steps?
Would you like me to train you in it right now, Marshall? I'd be honored to do it. It takes 30 seconds. And then you can practice this for 2 minutes. Sit comfortably in your chair, wherever you are, if you can. Deep breath in through your nose, all the way into the heart. About a 5-second breath, 3-second breath. Slowly release it out. Now, as you're doing that, keep doing that and just listen to my voice. I want you to think of something you're grateful for. Could be anything. Got it? Train yourself to hold it. Deep breath in, I'm grateful for. All of a sudden, the heart's now engaged. Okay? It's starting to engage. It's called instant coherence, is a technique we coach here at Higher Tech. Number 2, I want you to associate that element of gratitude with a feeling. Try to get the feeling of it. Feel it in your hands, feel it in your face, feel it in your heart. Hold it. Deep breath in, breathe out. And the longer you do that, the more coherency the heart begins to regulate, sending electromagnetic current to your outside circumstances, giving you instant reprieve. Another deep breath in. The breathing's the most important part. And release. Something that we teach in pro sports when we're lifting weights. Breathe, or else you get a hernia. Breathe. I'm dealing with a lot of people who have psychological hernias. And You probably feel better right now. You probably feel a sense of calm. For me now, it's gotten to the point it feels like it's a glass of wine or a cigar. And I neither do any of those anymore, but I used to. I abused alcohol. It almost destroyed me. It's a very deep part of my life because I had no coping mechanism. And I learned it very later in life, almost to the point where I destroyed things that probably couldn't be repaired. And that's a deep regret. Learning how to move regret from shame to guilt is another topic that we'll talk about, because shame is saying, I'm a horrible person for doing what I did. Guilt is saying, it was a horrible thing that I did. It was destructive, but I own it. That's coherence. And none of us are perfect people. All of us have fallen short of the glory of God. All of us. But we rise again. We
I
rise.
love Giovanni's comment here too. Intentional coherence requires humility to recognize the process is the win.
She is a brilliant orator and probably one of my favorite people on the planet. Thank you, Giovanni. Yes, she's right. It is an inward state of humility because it's saying, I don't have to change everything on the outside, but I do have to be humble enough to know that I can love myself. That is a form of humility.
All right, we are at time. Let's
Okay.
do 1 minute of a final thought and then we'll end it here.
Go ahead and type in the chat brainvalidation.com if we can.
I already did.
Oh, you did? Okay, perfect. So you can check it out there. We're doing a 50% off on this coherence brain assessment that is invaluable. I mean, it's instant coherence into the strengths, into your liabilities, and you can change them in a matter of 30 seconds. People are making breakthroughs literally all over the nation. So it's our honor to bless you with those. And of course, you can find my book on Amazon. I'm sure some people are interested, but we're going to start doing these once a week. So until next time, I'm honored to be with you. And thank you, Tim, for hosting it.
Welcome. All right. Thank you, Coach, for all your wisdom.
Yes,
Have a
sir.
great weekend, everyone.